Those are all. For show.
So just keep that door open, no matter what you're going through, no matter what time it is, or that anybody cares or doesn't care, etc. Thank you, Chicago. We love you so much, too. We love them all, man. These old rock stars are so precious, man, and so, even though they probably had their own interests at the time when they created this music, etc., the endless love of the heart of the universe, the mother love, always comes through. In the worst of works as well as the best of them. See, and you can't categorize them that way. There's some that affect you more than others. Hey, you. And others that will bring you right back home, even when you can't find your way back home. That's the one thing I know, is keep that door open, keep that love alive inside, and that'll get you through anything, babies. You know, peace comes at a price. You know, we've paid that price a long, long time ago. But many of us think we have to continue the suffering. And I'll tell you, you know, we've been dealing with what? Transfiguration here this week already, right? Which means to change the way things are portrayed, to allow ourselves to truthfully transform. And in order to do that, you got to recognize the energies. We don't got to do nothing, but we recognize those energies inside that, you know, are coming back to life with us. Now inside, you know, we've been feeling here on the Coyote Medicine Show with Grandpa Coyote and a whole host of angels and stuff, don't you know, including you, baby. Inside we've been feeling like this call, this pull, this bringing back together. And you feel it right now as we radiated here from high in the Rocky Mountain sky. But it's you, baby, see. My heart is just a vehicular reflector. In other words, I'm a mobile reflector, and I reflect it back to you in an amplified sort of way. What it is you've got inside to work with today. Not deal with, work with. The real love. The real life that is creative, you see. Yeah, the place where we really do create our own experience in this world. And you see, the reason why I really advise to keep this door open, this love alive, because you are, you know, the world around you at first is going to be a little resistant, or at least it's going to seem to be. You know, even in yourself, there might be elements you have to deal with that, you know, have been kind of infantile in their representation. But as we merge these energies inside, as we recognize the rooted nature of all of our energies inside of ourselves, right down through our roots, right down through our feet. Do you know your feet have more nerve endings than any other element in your body, even your hands, man? Your feet's got it all, a direct connect to every organ, every little operation in your body. There's a nerve ending there that connects with the earth. See, so you take it from the root chakra right down your legs, right through your feet, and down into Mother Earth, and it's really sweet. See, because there is this love, this consistent love, this alive love. It's what's at the center of Mother Earth, and I call it a golden heart. Some people call it a molten, smoldering thing where there's sulfur and brimstone. I don't care. You know, that's a beautiful thing for some people, and if that's what we need, well, that's where we'll go. But, you know, I don't think you can do much worse than some of the industrial cities in this world as far as hell goes. If you raise up on the wrong side of the tracks, you're going against, I mean, you got a whole life against you. You got a whole stack against you, you know, coming from a place like that, living in a place like that where life is just wow. And has been for generations now, under the gun. Just really a desperate situation. And quite often people turn to lives of crime because that's the only way they can make a living out of those neighborhoods. So, you know, I don't know, you know, what all the scams are, because I really haven't lived in those environments. I've been through them. I know a lot of people come from them. And some people have done right well with it. And, God, thank you, babies. Thanks for showing everyone else how it's done. Because, babies, you don't have to, no matter your circumstances, that's the point here. No matter your circumstances, where you come from, well, that's a living hell there. But you go through hell to find your paradise, you see. And out of the hard, gritty side of life always comes the more enlightened way. Always. So you see, when you're really, I mean, it's a test of your heart, yes. But when you're really under the gun, when you're living under pressure like that, where the whole world is against you, the cops, your neighbors, your friends, you know, that's when you really get going. That's when you'll find the grit inside of yourself. And you'll find decent things, decent words, decent activities popping out of your life like nobody's business. It's part of the blossoming. You got to remember, too, that we're like little baby children inside. That this part of us that we are reintegrating, that we have seen, yes, as reptilian, and if you haven't seen it that way yet, well, perhaps it's portrayed differently in you, but it's the same energy, you see. And the reason why I deal it from a reptilian aspect, because that, in the general presence, is the burden we've taken on ourselves right from the beginning of time. That was our agreement here, as the angels and strangers that we are, to come here, be human beings, thread in and out of these lives, and work out all of the reptilian energy in a 3D, reptilian, dumbed-down sort of way. And we've done that. We've gone through generation after generation after generation of it, and each generation, believe it or not, has brought it up another notch. So while times are looking pretty dark on this earth right now, it's just because truth is being revealed. And babies, we got to know what we've been dealing with in order to retrain it, you see. Inside of myself, what I'm feeling like is all of these energies, and it is kind of like a flower blossom that starts in your root, that's where the trunk is, and pours up through your heart and blossoms out from the center of your chest into everything else. All the elements that we've dealt with inside of ourselves as well as in the world around us, you know, because they tend to reflect each other. They tend to be the same thing. And some of us have some pretty damn deep wounds, you know, or at least it seems to be. You know, maybe we were born in one of those neighborhoods. Maybe we were violated as a child, and many times over. Maybe we were neglected and made to feel worthless, etc. We have so many elements we have to deal with in this life. And it's best, you know, when these elements are coming up, to get off by yourself and deal with them in yourself. We've been learning some lessons about that this week, haven't we, here on the Coyote Medicine Show, only on the Hazy Radio Network. You know, because sometimes it can get a little bit rowdy, you know, because we have dealt with so much. And we have been so far from our personal person because we have not been integrated. We've been polarized, which means we've felt poles both directions. It didn't, you know, sometimes got to the point where you didn't even know what decency was, you know, let alone being kind and respectful to yourself. Such concepts to some people are completely alien and foreign to them. They have lived such absently present lives. Grew up in one of those hard neighborhoods, or grew up in a cold-ass rich family, whatever. You know, the circumstances, the energy that we work with, this is something to recognize. No matter whether we come from the slums, the country, the big-time lives of rich folks, etc., it's all the same energy that we're dealing with. There's always a personal hell in it. That's the reptilian side of it. The suffering, the density, the darkness. Or at least that's the way we've seen it. You know, it really isn't dark. And I found that out a few years back, a couple of years back, when I went, like, you know, to my darkness. And found the light in it, you see. You're going through a similar process. In fact, you've already done most of it. That's why we're getting rooted in this reality. That's why we're coming back to life. But this part of us, this side of us, both sides actually, that have been polarized, are having to retrain themselves as to how to live. Now, we've had our old cycles and circumstances, the way we deal with the outside world, and sometimes it's been pretty harsh because it's tremendously protective of yourself. At least it seems to be. That's the life of fear, and then you got protection, and then you got to fight your way through it all the time. There isn't hardly a calm space anywhere, but somehow you manage a few of them, don't you? All of us do, see. There is always the reassurance, that little breath, the angel breath, that comes to you as you're passing through your way, you know, that reminds you of what you're really up to. And it's not so much as what we see here in this world. We deal with a lot of difficult situations because we've been hard and cold inside and didn't even recognize it. That's the side of us that's dealt with the outside world for the most part, is that harsh and cold side. You know, we always thought it was loving. Well, there's love in everything, so it is, in a sense. And being protective of you in this way, well, babies, that is a loving thing, right? I mean, you want to keep yourself safe, right? You want to keep yourself secure. You look for comfort in life, you know. You look for a way to get it, you know. You look for a way to change your circumstances, etc. That's the 3D way of dealing with it. Reality says otherwise. It says, awaken inside. Be loving to yourself first and foremost. In other words, recognize the love you're made of. And now you got to get used to a world made of love, because you're becoming loving inside of yourself. And the harsh, cold, impractical ways now are impractical, and they won't work for us anymore. The more you cast out, you know, the more you cast out, well, call it negativity for lack of a better term, but the more you cast out that kind of stuff, that hellacious stuff, that just means you're still suffering through your own hell, looking for your paradise. And baby, just let yourself go through it, whatever it is. And keep that door open inside of yourself, and keep that door open for everyone else. You'll lose the protective energies this way. You'll realize how much you really are loving towards the beings and presences in your life. That's why you let them get away with stuff, including yourself. Because, see, we all have our inequity. We've all gotten our dose of this so-called negativity, the reptilian side, the hard, cold, dense side, etc. We've all got our dose of it. We've all got an overdose of the light, too. So we didn't get it right. See, we kind of saw everything as soft and angelic on one side and harsh and hell on the other, you know. Reality is somewhere in the blossom, which combines all of those colors, all of those elements of energy, all of those elements of behavior into a singular, beautiful, in fact, quite wonderful flow that is so beautiful. It's powerful beyond belief because it's creation itself. You catching on, John? Jungle Jane, you ready to give it up? Quit swinging around on the vine. Find yourself a little time to be real. I'd say, baby. That's the deal. You see, it's all in what you feel. And the more, I got to tell you, this is just a little aside, but the more loving you can be towards yourself, most especially. But recognize the love for others, too, because if you love yourself, boy, the love for others can be really deep and powerful. And it's confusing in this world because what we've been taught, when we feel that kind of love, well, we got to go mate with somebody right now. You see, because we're always looking for it outside of ourselves. Not realizing that inside of ourselves, this love is expansive and aware, like a little baby child. But like a little baby child, it has to learn its way around. It's tricky, just like it is growing up from a little baby. And I mean, the odds are 50% against you as a child. The way we've played it before, but reality says no. There are no odds anymore. The odds are we're there. We're alive. Can you feel it? See, as long as you can feel your life, no matter what you're going through, you'll come to understand yourself by going through this stuff. That's why people come to you as willing partners to offer you this kind of opportunity to make great change in yourself, to find your own true heart and your own true way. And sometimes that takes a little abject energy. Sometimes that'll knock you right off the path, blow you away for a while. But the ultimate energy of this love is so magnetic, so irresistible is what we should say, because that's what creates the magnetism, is the irresistibility of the true view of love. The innocent heart, the baby child, that is bringing all of its elements back together. It is like rebirth. You're facing your death first while you're living. And we're transforming that death. See, I've done it a few times in my life, but I'm still just a baby child beginning with everyone else right here in the here and now, toward the end of March here in 2016. I'm barely, for all of the magic I've been able to share and find in myself and others as well, I'm barely, as a human being, starting to wake up and learn how to live in a world of love and how to create that world of love by, of course, first being loving and understanding inside of ourselves. And sometimes that takes some tremendous misunderstandings to bring about, because we have so lived in illusion. We have been so far from ourselves that we've only managed to pull up little elements of it here and there in the lives that we have lived before this time. These are the culminations of times then, because we're feeling it and we're dealing with it in a whole different level. So cut yourself a lot of slack, and everybody else too. No matter what's going on, you can duck, dodge, and weave. You're a dancer, baby. Don't take a chance here. Go where the love will take you. Go where the knowing flow is. Be in that moment, whatever that is. And if that's create misunderstandings, know that that leads to understanding, inevitably. That's how life works and operates here. Ain't it a beautiful thing? See, we're finally starting to catch on. It's been forever. Look at our poor ancestors. They didn't have the tools. They didn't have, I mean, everybody has it in a way. It's always available. But in the 3D sense, in the elements we were working out, they were so dumbed down they couldn't even see it. Or maybe they'd catch a little of it here and there. You see, but there were sweet, loving, powerful moments that come out of those dark lives. That's what got us here. The element of love has been steady throughout. You see, and you begin to see that in your own life. Then you can understand it in an ancestral way. The element of love is active in all things. That's life. And what we do with our character and our characteristics here is just apply our specialty, whatever that is, just like the little single cells and atoms inside of our body apply their specialty and become what they are. But we're all made of the same essential source, the light, the love. I call it the sunlight because it comes from the sun, both inside of the mother and there in the sky too, but inside of us. That's the love. That is the sunlight. See? Spread your wings, babies. Fluff those things. And let's see what you can do with it today. It's a Trippin' Tuesday. Where are we going to go with this? Well, where we ought to be going with it, because we're following that flow. See, soften up. And just be ready for anything, and don't let it take you down. You've been around long enough now to know that it's going to come and go within you and around you, but it's the steady flow. It's like healing this ugly sore on the side of my head that I've had for a while now, spider bite. Just came out of nowhere. But, it's there to slow you down, show you something. There's always something in it, something to understand, But this thing is like healing, but it's going slowly. And I tried all kinds of different elements on it, like mud of this sort, goop of that sort, whatever, besides the energy healing that I put into it all the time, etc., And it is finally coming around, but it's been like 6-8 months, just festering and pussing out, and oh God, what an ugly mess it's been. That venom gets in, and it gets in bad, and you got to find a way to neutralize it. And unfortunately, I didn't have the means to, or if I did, I didn't see them, because whatever I tried just seemed to make it worse, not better. But I kept trying, and finally, I got a friend tuned in to me from out there in the eastern side of the country, sent me a little magic mud from over there, and that turned the trick. That got it turned back in a healing direction. And then I found I had some stuff already that's made of, the base essence of it is bee propolis and beeswax, stuff like that. And babies, that stuff is strong and powerful, and it's bringing this thing around. But I have to be so patient with it. But I do see the coming around of it. See, it's kind of like our life. We have been so wounded. We were bitten by the spider, the reptilian spider, way back at the beginning of all of our generations. So every generation's been healing that sore on the side of their head, or in their heart, really. Because that's what the side of the head represents, is what's in the heart. And there's been a wound there, given us in so long ago. And so I tell all these different stories about some of the stuff I've been through that bring me to a settling with the reptilian energy as a person. But as a person, I'm just a player here, which means, like a pawn in a game, kind of. And I'm moved around by the fates of the universe, the heart, the ever-loving love, the steady thing that got all the generations through it, despite the wound that we carry right to this time. And right now, it's all about healing it, don't you know? Here on the Coyote Medicine Show, where else but the Hazy Radio Network. Clink, clink, clink to you all the way around, Coyote Clubbers. Welcome back to life. Now give yourself... Oh, we got to have a little toke of Mary Jane, too. Now give yourself a little time to get used to it. Give yourself some time like a baby. Recognize that you're just barely beginning. No matter what you've been through and where you've been through it, or how you've been through it, you're just beginning. Let that experience then be the great teacher, the great trainer that shows you the love that got you through it. And to this place where you can actually literally change it without having to go out and be the harsh business person or go to work or anything like that. You'll find the means as we begin to experience a more full presence of this love, of true creation, of becoming the blossom in that flower and the whole flower itself. And because we are, then life just provides for us. This is why I encourage you to be open no matter what's going on in the heart area. That's where your strength lies. That's where your protection is. This will disprove every infection of negativity you've ever had, so to speak. I lack words to really describe it, but we all know what I'm talking about. We feel it. The feeling is the deal, and that's what makes it real. Okay, babies, we're taking off for flight this morning on this Trippin' Tuesday on this Coyote Medicine Show. Let Mary Jane help you find the way. Don't abuse her, man. She's a sweetheart. Don't push your luck with her. But honor every sacred toke that you take, and babies, she will help you come awake. She'll help you get through this process. You, as a person, are doing the work, of course. But it's a blessing, see, and it's not work at all. When you start to lighten up, you find yourself more delighted with the aspects of life that are coming your way. And you're far easier and able to deal with them, but sometimes you've got to go through some harsh moments to get there. To remember that you can be loving in the worst of situations, and that doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong and powerful. Here's to Mary J. and your heart today and the flow that we've got underway. Love you so, babies, don't you know? So token to you, token with you, and sharing the wealth of our love in the simplest and most childlike sort of ways. Here in that Coyote Medicine Show, where else but the Hazy Radio Network. The rooted reality coming back to life, babies. Woo, woo, woo. How about you?